Hello and welcome to Read the Last Page,
A book club
YAP Sesh,
with your two favorite long-distance best friends. I'm your host, Dan.
and I'm your host, B. And how are you doing today, Dan?
Really good, really great. Happy December. I got all my Christmas shopping done yesterday.
Okay, good.
You should see my bank account, man.
Oh,
It's so hard. It's so hard these days to want to be grateful and love people you love.
Right.
With like not the funds to do it. Anyway, but yeah, it was nice because I really only had a few things left that I had to get, and it was like stressing me out low key. And so yesterday, my roommate Catherine and I, we were like, let's just like go downtown and we're gonna go to the bookstore, and then we're gonna go to this other boutique downtown, and like we're gonna knock everything out. And so I was able to get something for my mom, and I was able to get something for my other roommate, and it felt really great. Yeah, so
nice.
I know.
Kelly actually is in our hometown for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I almost said it and then I was like, wait, I think we might be censoring that. And she went to one of the stores that we like and bought something like for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I want to give my mom, well, I'm just my mom doesn't listen to this, so I'll just say,
Okay, so.
like she put bow earrings on her Christmas list. She's so trendy.
Cute.
And so Kelly was like, oh, there's some cute ones at this store, and she was like, do you want me to look while I'm home? And so Kelly found cute ones, so like she bought them. I Venmo'd her. Now she's gonna wrap them up, send them with my parents, because my parents are coming up here in 2 days, to then give to me, to then give to my mom.
Love.
You know what I'm saying?
Love. Wait,
like,
so like your mom has
know.
To travel with it, basically?
She's like gonna be carrying her own Christmas gift.
Love that. Absolutely love that. That is so funny.
But like my other option was Amazon, and like I would way rather buy from like the store at our hometown, you know, instead of so yeah,
that's great. Mm-hmm. Man, I also feel bad because she's drinking her ice chai.
My ice chai.
I feel bad though because like my little sister, and you probably relate to this also, being a January baby, but like my little sister Alyssa's birthday is 5 days before Christmas, and so it's like my sisters and I always, well, not always, but we've gotten to this point now in our lives where we're like, I think we would like it more if we just don't get each other Christmas gifts, because it's just like, we're like, we'd just rather have the money. And so it's like, basically we just be passing money around to each other, and it's like, let's just not do it. But I still want to get Alyssa a birthday gift. So like this year I like completely forgot about Alyssa's birthday gift, and I was like, oh my gosh. But I got one. Don't worry. Yeah. But like literally and then I was thinking about you, and luckily for me, but also sad, but like I'm not going to see you till like March or February. So like luckily I got time, but I know what I'm going to get you.
So true.
I'm like, that's for next paycheck. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like it is so weird for me this year because I'm not going home.
Yeah.
But like my parents and my oldest sister and her family are coming up. So like I think some of my other sisters might be sending stuff like with my parents.
Okay.
But it's like, it's just like we're all like, everyone's having little Christmases, like little disjointed Christmases, but it's not like everyone together this year.
Right.
So yeah, it's just kind of interesting, and it's like I wanted to give gifts, but it's like sad that like I don't get to be there when they're opening them.
Yeah,
you know.
That's such
but
a
I'm
bummer.
sure my family. I honestly might just FaceTime my family on Christmas, or they'll like take videos or you know, say thanks. You know, so
right.
But yeah, it is kind of interesting, like not being home for Christmas.
Yeah, like especially if you're used to
sad.
having just like a really big holiday with everybody, and then like having that kind of be slowly ripped away is so sad.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
I mean, sorry. It's like, but you know, wait. So like, what are you planning on doing for Christmas? Are your parents gonna be still in town for Christmas, or are they gonna leave before? Okay.
My parents are only staying till Saturday, and then my sister's family is like flying back on the 24th. So on the 25th. I will be here by myself. But I can't remember. I know my roommates are going home at some point. But I think one of them might still be here actually on Christmas Day. Maybe.
Okay.
So maybe we'll do something. If not, and if I'm like actually home alone, um, I will be FaceTiming my family, FaceTiming my boyfriend and his family.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably like be getting Christmas treats and watching Christmas movies and like
Yeah.
calling everyone that I love.
Yeah,
Like,
just making a little day for yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah. And maybe I'll go on like a, well, I don't know. I was going to say like go on a walk through like Midtown, but I don't know if it'll be crazy or not. Like I just don't know what,
Right.
like obviously it's really busy here for like all of December.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I'm not sure like what exactly happens. I should look it up like on Christmas Day, like what's happening in New York, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know a thing. Let's be real.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
yeah.
But I'm excited, like my family that's coming this week, like even though like on Christmas Day I'm gonna be not with my family, which I'm a little bit nervous about how I'll feel,
Mm-hmm.
but like I'm still going to get family time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least to some extent, and like it's gonna feel kind of Christmassy because New York is already Christmassy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that will like fill me up enough to like carry me through, you know, like you know,
Right,
to
right.
feel good.
True.
And I'm doing some dance like intensive workshops. Like I'm in one right now, and there's one that starts on like the December 27th. So like I've got some things going like to look forward to, so I'm not just like I have nothing to do and I'm all alone. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
I've got things to work on, so
Yeah.
that's good.
That's good. I feel like there
Yeah.
are just so many good Christmas movies you can watch that take place in New York. I feel like
Yeah.
New York is like the epicenter of Christmas, low
I
key.
know. Even like, you know, guys, I love Elf. I know people think it's stupid or whatever, but I love that one. And like I'm like I can't wait to rewatch it this year because it's New York and like I'm gonna know where everything is.
You're gonna know. Yeah, true. I'm currently this is so lame because like why am I doing this? But I'm slowly working my way through like the 1940 version of Miracle on 34th Street, but I keep falling asleep, and so I'm watching it in increments of like 15 minutes before I go to bed at night. But anyway, like that's so New York, and it's like it's all about like, you know, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is like where we start and like all that stuff. And I'm like, wow, you probably know actually where 34th Street is.
Yeah,
That
that's
know
like
thing.
Penn Station.
There you go. That's probably
Yeah. It's like Madison Square Garden is over there.
Yeah. Okay. Play.
Yeah. You know what I was just talking to my friends about yesterday is I need to rewatch Enchanted.
New York. You're so
Because of New
right.
York. Yeah.
You're so right.
Yeah. And like, you know, I love that one. So
Yeah. I recently, Haley and I, we really like on Netflix, the miniseries Dash and Lily, which is like, it's like a like coming of age miniseries about like this boy and girl who are like anonymous pen pals passing a journal back and forth and
That's
daring each other to do
cute.
things around New York. Yeah.
cute.
But they find the notebook in the Strand, and me and you, we've been having our chats about the Strand recently.
Right.
And so it's like such a New York story, and it looks so like every time I watch it I'm like, low-key New York looks like so fun, but like also scary, but like so fun.
Girl, we gotta get you up here.
But like truly, I wish you had a Netflix so that way you could watch that, but I don't know.
True. Yeah.
I don't understand. I would just give you my password, but I just don't understand how it works anymore.
No, I feel like it would like lock your account or something. I will be buying Netflix. Well, probably we'll have to see when
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things comes out. Like, cause I'm hoping that you and I are gonna get to watch it together.
True.
And so if we're at your house, then we can use yours. But if we're like at like my parents' house. I'll bring my Roku home and I'll pay for a month of Netflix. And then in that month, I can watch everything that I need to watch, you know?
That's true. That is true. Oh my gosh. The other day I was on Disney Plus and we lost our no ad month.
No.
Girl, the ads on Disney Plus are killing me. I'm like, I can't, these streaming services cannot keep getting away with this.
I know.
I know. It's so bad. But anyway, Laura and I accidentally, for a Gravity Falls episode, we were like, we want this to be uninterrupted streaming, and so we paid for the no ads, and then I accidentally forgot to cancel it, so we paid for another month of it, and then I just had no ads on my Disney Plus for a good month, and it was beautiful. It was glorious. It felt incredible. And now the ads are destroying my life. So
Yeah.
it's
I
fine.
was thinking about that with Spotify. Like, my dad pays for, like, the family plan that I've been on for years, and I just never bring it up because I don't want him to realize, like,
me with my phone bill.
it's like valid that, yeah, exactly. Like, he could kick me off of it, but I don't want him to think about it. But I was thinking I was like, man, I used to have ads and I couldn't skip songs.
Literally, Spotify is one of like my few things that like that's a luxury, and I'm gonna pay full price for that because like I cannot. Like, I love my queue. I love being able to shuffle or to play songs in the way that I want to play them, and I hate ads. So I refuse. I have to have that Spotify Premium.
Right. That's the thing is, like, when my dad stopped paying for Netflix, it was like, okay, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to pay for it. But if he stopped paying for my Spotify, it's like I would have to buy it. So like I really don't want to be taken off of that one.
If you get the Spotify Premium though, I think you get Hulu for free. So that's a little perk there.
Right now I'm on Sage's Hulu, so
love. There you go. Also, my Disney Plus has Hulu, so built in.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So there you go.
I'm just so taken care of.
I know. You're welcome. Although Michaela told me, my sister Michaela the other day told me, she was like, it's asking me if I'm a visitor or if like this is my house for Disney. And so I'm like, the end is near. Disney, I'm going to look you in the eyes when I say this. Stop being greedy. You guys are so mean. Oh my God. Why are we doing this? Sharing
it's just
is caring.
so annoying because it's like literally like, especially you and Michaela, like you guys are literally family.
Yeah.
And like imagine if like you're like, say your parents bought an account and they had it at your house and then we're letting you and Michaela have it. Like, in my opinion, you should be allowed to do that. That's your family.
Literally. No, because
it's not our fault that the daughters grew up and moved out. Like,
it's like, to me too, I'm like,
we're all fam.
Feel like you're in the Netflix, we are all fam. Literally.
Literally.
No, but like you guys are actually, I think, losing people. I know that the stats are saying that more people are signing up, but I'm just thinking about in like cases like this, it's like I think you're making your audience actually upset and angry.
Right.
It doesn't feel worth it. You guys are just greedy. Anyway.
No, for real.
Sorry.
Exactly.
I love that we're going on like this capitalistic rant.
But it's so, yeah. It's just annoying. And I was just thinking, like, what if there's like a kid who like their parents don't live together and they go back and forth between their parents' houses all the time, and why can't that kid just have one account at two homes?
So true.
You know what I mean?
So true. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are being so mean. Where's the empathy?
Right.
So upset.
Man.
Anyway.
Since you said in the Netflix We All Fam, I just have to tell this quick anecdote.
Okay, what?
I have a tutoring student and she texted me and she said, in the club We All Fam, haha, don't know if you'll get the reference, but la 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 la.
Oh no.
She thinks I'm so old.
Are we old? This is so upsetting. They literally think we're out here with like families.
But like, it's like I'm almost 10 years older than her, so
I guess that's true.
which is insane.
Yeah.
But I'm like, girl,
That's
like, trust
so
I'm
real.
on TikTok.
That's
like,
so
trust
real.
I know what you're talking about.
There was
She's
truly
so funny. I love her.
There was truly a time in like high school where like I would remember watching like the seniors graduate off to college and being like, their lives are over. I don't know how they're gonna keep up with people. And then I got to college and I was like, what the heck? My life's beginning.
Right.
Like,
right.
genuinely, like I was like, I cannot believe like me at age 15 being like, how are they gonna find ways to talk to people who they grew up with? I'm like, it's just college is bigger high school. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. It's funny interacting with them. Like, I was talking to her and I was like, you know, you gotta lock in. And she just thinks it's so funny. Like, I try to like throw the slang in. Or I had a kid last semester. I think he was, I don't know, like freshman or sophomore. Mm-hmm. And I said something like, yeah, I mean, if you don't study, I mean, you're cooked. And he thought it was so funny.
Literally.
He was like, okay, like, look at you with the slang. I was like, please.
You with the slang? Oh my god, because I supervise a couple students for my job, and like so they're like 19-year-olds and they're talking to me, and that's like not that big of a difference from where I am currently, but
Right.
sometimes like it's so funny like interacting with like the more obvious Gen Z because like mostly I work with like millennials or people who are like generations above me, and so it's like then I'm like talking to people from Gen Z, and like literally like last week my student worker was asking me all about Glickid, and if I had any they're like, I know you know about Glickid, and I was like, do you know what Glickid is?
Like Glee Wicked or something?
No, like it's like so do you remember Barbenheimer?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like people were trying to do that again for Gladiator 2 and Wicked, and so it was called Glickid Weekend.
Oh, I had no idea there was a movie called Gladiator 2.
Really? Okay, me. I love girl, I love the energy you're bringing.
I thought you were going to say something about like if there's characters crossed over from Glee and Wicked or something. I
mean,
don't know.
actually, low-key there is, because Idina Menzel is in Glee, and she's in Wicked, and so that's a crossover event, and Kristen Chenoweth too. So there you go, crossover event.
There you go.
But no.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page.
She's on the same
now,
page.
though.
Yeah. But anyway, just like little things like that. And I'm like, I'm glad that at least somebody's keeping the office fresh, because I can't do it. I can't be doing it.
You can't be doing it alone, yeah. That is so funny. I do feel like we're right in the middle, so it's like
it's hard. It's weird. Because I don't get all the millennial references, and I refuse to hop on the Gen Z slang. I cannot say skibbity toilet riz ever. What is that?
I feel like that's like younger than Gen Z though. I feel like that's like the little kids.
Well, like Gen Alpha.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Gen Alpha's like, I think like 2011 up maybe. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea when Gen Alpha starts. So like that's like really young. But I feel like it's like the 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds who like originated skibbity toilet riz.
Maybe. And I could not tell you what any of those words mean.
No, I hate so much of oh my god, I hate sounding like an old person, like, but there's so much of Gen Z I just don't understand. I'm appreciating it though, you guys. I mean, we're from the time where people would tattoo mustaches on their pointer finger so they could put it over their mouth. Like that was crazy. So didn't partake though, thank God.
Yeah, we weren't old enough.
Nope.
Luckily.
Nope. Truly, I was born to just repost that on Tumblr. Not born to actually do it.
So true. So should we get to the point of this episode?
Yeah, I think we should.
The people are sick and tired of hearing
like, stop yapping.
So this is our last YAP sesh of the year.
Yes, that's crazy.
Which is crazy. So we are doing our read the last page superlatives, our faves, our least faves, our memories, this, and this. So we have some categories, and we're just gonna talk about like what our faves were and what our non-faves were. Yeah. And stick around for till the end, because we're going to reveal our favorite book club books and our favorite books of the whole year. So outside, all the other categories are going to be just from our book club books, because hopefully you guys have read those, and so that's what you guys will know about. But we also want to tell you just at the end what our favorite books were from the whole year. So.
Yeah, and just going off that, like B just said, we have hour-long discussions about all these books that we're about to be talking about. Right. So we're not going to get too much into it. We'll just kind of give you like maybe our basic thoughts and like some explanation about why we picked it. Yeah. But we probably won't be going into like so much of the plot, so much of our overall thoughts, like really any of our ratings or whatever. Like we have full episodes of those if you guys want to take a look. And towards the end of some of like, at first we didn't really do this, but if you guys are just like curious about it, we do have a couple episodes that have spoiler free sections. So if you want to check it out and just kind of get initial thoughts about it, those are all available for you guys. But yeah, I feel like that's just a good disclaimer to have, just so you guys aren't confused about why we're not talking too much about these books, because we don't want to make this super long. Right.
And we'll try to, not be having like spoilers really.
Yes.
unless you are just really, really good at inferring what it means if I say this is my favorite character. And then that's on you. That's not my fault.
That's not my fault.
True. Okay. Okay, so starting off strong, what was our favorite book club episode?
Yes, so like to film and record and listen back to, because I'll be honest, I love to listen back to our book club episodes.
Yeah.
So I guess I can go first.
Sure.
My favorite episode of ours, I think I have a real soft spot for our lessons in chemistry episode.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Really?
I knew it.
I don't know. I think it's really great when we are able to both come onto an episode having the same kind of feelings toward a book, and especially if we both really like the book. I think me and you have both really discussed how much more we like talking about books that we enjoy than dislike,
Right.
because it's just like so much more
Yeah.
fun to kind of praise a book for like having an impact on us than like talking about why we didn't like a book, you know. And so, and with lessons in chemistry, there was just like so much there to really unpack. And I mean, in that episode, I remember we had to maybe cut 15 minutes or something of us just like talking really like about personal experiences about how this book really touched us, and like we ended up cutting it because we were like, this may be too personal for the book club, but like I just like loved the conversation we had around that, and like I could tell it was both like really like nice for each of us to have read that book. And yeah, and it was like we were kind of in the swing of things. Like it's like it wasn't like one of our first few book club episodes. We kind of understood what we were doing there. So yeah, I remember feeling really proud about that book club episode when we did it, and then I re-listened to it, and I was like, I think I re-listened to it maybe like a month or so ago, and I was like, this is like I really like this discussion.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we did a nice job talking about the book. So
Yeah, because I think in that one we talked a ton about the book, but then I think we like opened up the conversation more so to like how it relates to the world and our life and this and that. And like we don't always have the opportunity, like not all the books really
gave us that,
bring that up, I guess. So yeah, I really liked that one for that reason too. But my favorite was Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love.
This was one of my favorites also, yes.
And I think like for me, again, it's because we both liked it, so it was like a really good episode. And for me, like I feel like it was just like refreshing. Like we had read Turtles earlier in the year, which was like the other like just like kind of like straight YA like realistic fiction book, but we had both already read it, so like it was like a wonderful experience, and that was really good too. But this was like a new one for us together, and I just felt like it was just so like fun and joyous to like talk about a new YA realistic fiction coming of age book that we both really liked. So that's why I liked that one.
Yes, and that was another one too where like we were able to kind of like relate it to both our own personal experiences, and then also like I mean that book touches on some really kind of heavy hitting topics that are kind of prevalent to today's world, and I feel like we were able to really have a good conversation about a lot of the themes that it brought up. But I remember after we finished the episode we were like, that was kind of good. Like I think we
were like
kind of did good on that one. Yes, I love the donuts one.
Yeah.
Moving on, question number 2. What is your favorite book club character? So B, do you want to take this one?
And like, what if I told you I had multiple?
Okay, literally, actually, go off. Go.
Okay, so I feel like the one that's like is Matthias from Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. And I already loved him because, so for reference, we had already read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. We reread them for this podcast. And I already knew that like basically I love all the characters. But during this reread, I feel like I really understood why I like his character so much. And like, I just feel like I got like a deeper understanding of like how his story, not that it necessarily relates to mine, but I just like, I don't know, I just feel like I got a deeper appreciation for him. And I was just like, because I remember reading the first time and I remember really liking him, but I couldn't remember why. And then this time when we read it, I was like, oh, here's the reason. So I
That's
just
a
think
good
he's
one.
so complex,
Yeah.
and I loved his I
Yeah.
love his arc in the
Yes.
books.
Can I add something really quick
Yes,
before?
go go
Okay.
go.
Just because this reread for Six of Crows 2 for me was really enlightening for my feelings about
Mhm.
Matthias, because like I remember reading it for the first time, and Matthias to me was like a very interesting character because he's kind of like a, like him and Kaz are like two, I think, of the harder nuts to crack, you know,
Right.
in that book. And so I remember being like, when I first read it, I was like, I don't know if Matthias is really like the character like that I personally like, but like this reread, oh, I was in tears over this man's character
Yeah.
arc. Literally incredible. I think it
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like I was really able to really sit and digest like the purpose of his character and like really what that arc really was meant to do, and the impact he had on
Yeah.
every other character in that book, and it's just so good.
For
Really
real.
great, really
So I
great.
feel like him like overall,
Mhm.
that's my favorite character, but then like my honorable mentions are Far Far from Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love, because
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
cozy, comforting,
Mhm.
wise,
Mhm.
just like I wanted to hear everything he had to say.
Mhm.
And then I also, other honorable mention, Harriet Sloan from Lessons in Chemistry, the neighbor.
Yeah.
I just really liked like she wasn't necessarily a main character. She's like a second tier character.
Mhm.
But I thought there was a lot of interesting things happening in her story, and I liked that we got to kind of like see her develop throughout the story, not just like the main characters. And
Yeah. That's a
I
great
just
pick.
liked the way she stepped in, and I just really
Yeah.
liked her. So
That's
yeah, those are
so
mine.
good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so mine is also from Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I feel like this is gonna be so obvious.
Yeah.
My favorite character is Inej from Six
Yep,
of
I
Crows.
know, I know.
I literally, when the fact that I hesitated actually while reading this question, I was like, "Who's my favorite character?" And like completely forgetting, I went on like a 10-minute spiel in our Crooked Kingdom episode about how much I just love Inej. Like, yeah, it was just always gonna be her. I just think she is such a fascinating character. I think it's like when you go into Six of Crows and you kind of like really first meet um these characters, you expect for them all to be kind of like hard to love characters because they're a group of criminals, and like if you know the plot, it's like they're literally breaking into a jail. Like it's
Right.
like you expect them to be kind of like really rough, kind of scary characters, and then it's like you're greeted with like really only two characters of the six I would say are kind of scary and hard to love at first, and the
Yeah.
other ones are like little goofballs, kind of like lovable, like scrappy characters. And Inej to me is like such a fun addition to that group because she's somebody who has like this real like quiet warmth and like strength to her, and also she's somebody who like she does not agree completely with everything that they're doing, with everything that she has to do. Like she has just like these really strong morals and this like code of ethics that she has to follow, and I think like her specific journey throughout both of those books and like grappling with everyday situations that she's put in is like so complex and interesting, and I just love her as a character. I feel like she has such like an admirable quality to her, and I loved her chapters. I don't know, every chapter I was
Yeah.
like, yes, Inej, let's get to Inej.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, best. This one's for me. Best text to text connection, or it could be text to self, or text to world, or text to
Okay.
like anything else.
Can you go first for this one? Because
Sure.
I'm intrigued to see kind of what you have to say.
Okay, I had two.
Okay.
So wait, I actually have three.
Okay, so like,
But I'll go quick. So the first one that I think is like actually the best, like best writing wise, is it's kind of hard. I don't want to give spoilers away, but in Six of Crows, I will just say one of the characters tells another character like, you have to stay alive through this, like don't give up, like stay alive through this. And then in Crooked Kingdom, someone dies, and it's very like that is like a literal, like the texts are connecting, like those two parts of the story are like intertwined and very like interconnected. More of like a connection in the sense of like, oh, this was like this other thing. My text to musical connection in The Starless Sea being like Pippin.
Yes,
which
love that.
if you listen to that episode, you can hear why. I don't want to say why because it might be a little bit spoilery. So listen to that episode. Or if you've read the book and you've seen the musical, you might be able to tell why. But it's about the stories being cyclical.
Yeah,
and it keeps happening. And then my funniest one was in Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love when Oscar breaks up with his little girlfriend and she's like, la la la, I love you. This was a text to self connection because that happened to me. Which I talk about in that episode.
Yes.
But like I was dating a guy one time and I was like la 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 la, and then like he broke up with me and it was like okay, it was like so embarrassing. So that was like my funny text to self connection that I liked.
Yes, that's so funny
because it's good to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, true. Love that. Okay, so I think I don't exactly remember the full context of this, but I'm gonna try my best. But we had a moment, I believe it was in the Turtles All the Way Down episode, where we both had the same text-to-text connection, which we were comparing the fight that the two best friends in Turtles All the Way Down have with each other to the scene in Little Women where Marmee says to Joe, do not let the sun go down on your anger.
Yeah.
And
that's the best one.
It's like,
I'm glad you remembered that because that's good.
I just remember us both freaking out because we were like, no way, I literally thought of that. And it's like, that is a scene that is so personal to me and B. Like, I think we both just love it so much. And so it is always on the mind, of course. But I just love that we were able to like have that same moment of like, I just like thinking about us being like kind of like reading our little books in our own separate places across the country and like both just making that connection and like then being able to talk about it online. Like, I don't know, I thought it was great, and I love bringing up Little Women whenever we get the opportunity to. And so yeah, that was a fun one, I think.
Okay, I changed my answer to that one.
That one?
That's like actually the best one. It was hard for me to like remember. I was like, I know that I've said a million text to text connections in these episodes, but like I didn't have time to like listen to everything and take notes.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's a really good one.
Next one, we're gonna say, what was the most memorable scene for you?
Okay, and I have two.
Okay, of course.
Guys, I cannot pick favorites and rank things. Like, it's like the bane of my existence. Okay, so my first one, this is in no particular order, just the order that I wrote them, was in Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love, towards the end when Oscar is like, everything's going wrong in my life.
Yeah.
And he gets home and Lou has called in all the favors and she's brought basically every person that loves him and cares about him to help him through this.
Yeah.
That literally, like, it was like I'm reading a book, right? I'm not even like seeing the movie, but I could just like see the image and I was just like jaw dropped, like eyes getting teary, like it just like I was just filled with so much love and like I could just feel it was just very tangible, you know?
Yeah, I
like,
100% agree.
Yeah,
100%.
I love that one. And then my other one is in Lessons in Chemistry. There's a woman in the audience during during the show.
Yes.
And a guy next to her, maybe he's like the reporter or something. He asked the woman like, what do you like so much about this? And she says being taken seriously or something to that extent. That she's being taken seriously by Elizabeth Zott, you know. And the guy is like, really? It's not like the recipes or like what? And the woman is like, seriously? And like I just loved that moment because well, I love it for many reasons, but like I love that the woman is saying like being taken seriously is what is so important to her.
Yeah.
And I love the way that it's shown, like that the man is like so like shocked, like he hadn't even considered that that is what all these women would be feeling. He seriously thought they just like to learn a new recipe every night, and it's like I think it's a very good, almost like a thesis moment of the book of showing like a lot of times the men are just assuming what they think the woman is thinking, and they always are like assuming that they're thinking something. So I mean, learning a recipe is great, so I don't want to say like dumb or something, but like they're not giving women the credit of like wanting to learn and wanting to,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
it's just
yes,
like a
yes,
good
yes.
thesis moment for the book. And I love that the woman is like, kind of like rolls her eyes at him. Like, are you serious? Like, what, like, really? You really think that's like,
Right.
I love that scene. I thought it was like super, super good.
Yes, that's so good. Another one from Lessons in Chemistry that I really like is the other interaction with the audience where she asked that woman what she wants to do with her life, and she's like, well, I'd like to become like, I think she said like a heart surgeon or something, but she was like, but I could never do that. And like Elizabeth is like, yes you can, it's so easy, la la la. Like, I feel like there's so many great parts in that book where like
Yeah.
she's interacting with other women, and it's like it really like just like is like kind of what you were saying, but like giving us like these moments that are like, and that's the point of the novel, and like that's the thesis statement. But yeah, those were really good examples. That was not my pick, by the way. So
okay.
I'm gonna go into my new one, my actual pick. But I picked a scene too from Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love. I'm not gonna talk about too much because it is a spoiler.
I know. Okay, I know what it is.
I'm just gonna say this book had my favorite ending of the year, and I won't like explain it, but like I think the last act of Donuts is kind of a toughie because a lot of emotional climaxes. Well, it's the emotional climax of the book. A lot of things are happening. It's a little tough to get through, and so there's like a few chapters there where like you're just kind of on the verge of tears the entire time and just like nervous.
Right.
And I think like to have that ending, or have that be the last final kind of act of this book, and then be able to wrap it up so incredibly nicely in this epilogue that Jared Reck was able to give us. Like, it's just a very lovely epilogue that wraps up everything. It feels very satisfying. It feels very heartwarming in a way. And I just remember me and you sending each other like pictures of ourselves crying while reading the last page. We were like, yeah, this was impactful. And so I would just say that like, my most memorable scene is just the epilogue in Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love, because that was very good on Jared Reck's part.
Absolutely. Yeah. For real. I mean, if I would have written down 3, that was going to be my third.
Exactly.
So. Exactly. But I was like, we're trying to keep it a little bit short. Okay. We're going to bring back the Tumblr days lingo. Who's your OTP?
Okay, my OTP, my one true pair. I can't tell if this is going to be obvious or not, but it's just like, it feels obvious to like my 16-year-old self. So I'm going to pick Jesper and Wyland from Six of Crows.
Oh, yeah.
I love them. I mean, I love all the couples in Six of Crows. I've just always had a real like soft spot for Jesper and Wyland. I think that they're just like the most tender couple of that series, and it's such a nice kind of dichotomy, I guess, between like Jesper and Wyland, and then we see like Matea and Nina and like their angst that's going on throughout that first book, and then like Inej and Kaz, and also like that angst that's happening, and then like Jesper and Wyland still have angst, trust, but they're a lot like they're like giggly twirly. Yeah. It's so good. And they're also characters who I believe are so like impactful on each other. Like they're both able to like fully accept each other as they are. And then also like you see themselves like actually change the other person throughout. Like, specifically the second book, I think.
Well, then of course, mine is Matthias and Nina.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
duh.
Of course.
I love them so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, I feel like the first time I read these books, it was just, I don't know how old I was, 18, 19.
Yeah.
And I just was just like, oh my gosh, I love them. La, 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 la.
Yep.
And I still feel that way. But I just feel like this second time reading them, I was like, okay, this is like, these are the legit reasons why I love them. Like, I've got evidence to back it up. You know what I mean?
Literally.
I don't know. I just love them. I think, like, I really admire Nina and the way that she's very, like, she's just kind of out there in herself and just, like, not obnoxious, but just, like, okay, guys, and this is who I am and this is how I'm going to act, and that's fine. But then at the same time, she is, like, very, I don't know what the right word is, but she's always, like, there for Matthias and, like, trying to help him, like, become his better self.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just love the way that Matthias is very much more, like, not shy, but, like, reserved, because he's so used to this life of, like, order and following direction from the person above him, and, like, he's like, I have to act in this one certain way, and she's like, let's do whatever you want, you know. And, like, they're so, like, different, and I feel like they, like, slowly throughout the book, they become more like each other. Like, they kind of rein each other in from both sides, you know.
Yes, 100%.
And yeah, and of course, yeah, I just love them.
Yeah. No, it's like I think they give such grumpy sunshine energy, and it's like, yeah, I'm so happy that we reread this book together.
Yeah, me
because
too.
I just found so many things that I loved about it more, and it just cemented my feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah, from my first reread or first read.
Right. No, for real. It's like I knew that I loved them, and now it's like, oh, I remember why I loved them.
Yep, exactly.
When you said Grumpy and Sunshine, I just had an amazing text to movie
saw
connection.
your epiphany. I was like, what is this?
They are like Dylan and Lily, I think, are their names, and We Bought a Zoo. Come on. And you know, that was like my original OTP.
Laura was
when
obsessed.
I was like 13.
Oh, she was obsessed. That's why is it so funny actually to have your original favorite pairing be from We Bought a Zoo?
Yeah,
I love that for you. No, you were what I love about this too is like that was like so real of you, because that couple, first of all, it's like two 12-year-olds, and so like their huge grand gesture moment ends with like a hug, and like to Laura that was like the most impactful thing in the whole entire
it was
world.
Through the window in the rain.
The window is so beautiful, actually. Wait,
yeah,
I cannot believe they bought that zoo.
Literally,
there's this guy on Twitter who, like, Laura and I love sending he bought him zoo memes back and forth to each other.
Yeah, they've been going on for years. Yeah, I don't know how he comes up. He keeps coming
funny.
Up with them.
He's always just like, can you guys believe they actually bought that zoo?
I feel like I used to, I don't know. I feel like I used to follow him on Tumblr, and then I like followed him to Twitter when I like stopped being on Tumblr.
I do believe Tumblr was the birthplace of that account.
Yeah.
He's so funny though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, okay. My honorable mention here was Aza and Davis, and just in the sense that, like, I feel like I just like I liked the way that they interacted. It honestly more on like a platonic level, like they were like flirty la la la, but I just really I remember reading that and just always wanting like more scenes of them talking to each other and like understanding each other, and I liked reading about them.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
Figuring out their life together.
I loved the way, no spoilers of course, but I loved the way that like their specific story was kind of wrapped up because it
Mm-hmm.
felt a bit different from typical YA novels that I usually read,
Right.
but it was still very satisfying for me
Yeah.
personally as far as the character arc goes. Can I also say one thing though? Can I throw in an honorable mention?
Yeah, of
I'm
course, girl.
gonna
Yeah.
say favorite pairing would be Aza and Daisy from Turtles All the Way Down.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because, like, to me, this is a platonic pairing, of course, because they're besties. But, like, I know that we had a moment in that episode where we were just talking about how we felt like we related to them kind of
Mm-hmm.
as a best friendship. And, like, I was just like, I love that. I just love being able to, like, kind
Yeah.
of, because I mean, I feel like I find little, there are Laura's everywhere for those with the eyes to see. You know what I mean? Like,
Stop. That's so sweet.
when you're reading books, you just find your best friends everywhere. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like to have a book that like to be able to buddy read a book with you kind of.
Yeah.
And like we each kind of were able to bring why we thought like or how we saw we each fit into these two characters was really sweet for me, and I
Yeah.
just love them as a pair. I think they have a very mature arc as
Yeah.
a friendship, and I just love what John Green was able to kind of do with those two characters. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's my honorable
And
pick.
yeah, I love that, and I feel like they are realistic. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
1000%. Yeah, yeah. And like,
So
and you also, if you guys have ever watched the movie, which I actually think is a really good adaptation of a book,
mhm.
but yeah, I think it kind of even goes to show how realistic they are as characters to how well they were able to be translated onto film, especially
Mhm.
a movie that was like released about like I don't even know 9 years, maybe 8 years after the book was written. Like it's like I feel like it's just like a really yeah, like two very real portrayals of like character people
Teenage
in their
girls. Yeah.
in their teens in school and kind of going through like Aza deals with like really crazy mental health struggles, and it's like that's the main focus of that book. And then like to have like this relationship with her best friend be kind of like this huge journey that she kind of has to go through in this book. I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
know if I'm explaining this correctly, but like, you know, like it's like I just feel like it's like a very like impactful story, and also like
Yeah.
is going to remain relevant for years and years to come. So
Right. And it all leads back to John Green stands right.
literally, John Green stands low-key never lose. Literally.
Okay. That is so good. I love that you brought up like a platonic one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What is I think the audience, if you've been following along, you guys
You
probably
probably
already know. But what's our least favorite book club book?
Okay, I'm going to. By the way, you guys know me and Laura are not haters on this podcast. We do like to bring positivity, so I'm not going to try to be mean about this. But I will say, if you listen to our last book club episode, you'll know that I wasn't the hugest fan of The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I think is probably going to be my least favorite book
Yeah.
of the year. But it's like it's a book that I 100% understand why people like it. I think I just get that it wasn't for me. I thought that it was just really hard for me to like relate to the characters and the plot, and I think the writing was really great, but also something that I didn't really feel incredibly compelled. That didn't make sense, but you know what I mean. Like I didn't feel any connection to the text either, and so I don't know. It was a tough book for me to read because it was a long book, and I think because of the length and because of how quickly I realized it wasn't for me, it kind of almost made the reading experience a bit more difficult for me.
Right.
So you know, I'm not opposed to reading Erin Morgenstern books in the future. I probably actually will give her another chance because I know a lot of people really like her books, but this one just wasn't for me. That's totally fine. And if you want to hear more opinions about that,
You can watch
just
that
go watch that episode.
But yeah. Yeah. And mine was Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Again, yeah, I don't think it's the worst book ever written or anything like that. It just is my least favorite of the ones we've read. It for me, I really like fantasy and sci-fi and other worlds and quirky things and all that kind of stuff. And this one just missed the mark for me. I I felt like there was a lot of interesting things going on. The world was interesting. Yeah. The seas being made of these different spores that interact differently with water or whatever it was. Like, I think it was a really interesting premise. I just did not feel um I didn't I wasn't sure why I was supposed to care about the characters on this journey, and I felt like there was so much build up and lead up to certain points in the book, and then when you actually got to that point, it was over in a paragraph. And I was like, okay, I just spent 3 chapters building up to this, and all of a sudden it's over. I just like didn't, it felt like some things were really fleshed out and then some things we forgot about, and I just I was just like, and I didn't really like the ending either. I just like it just, to me, parts of the ending like discredited everything else I had read and everything else I thought was happening. It's kind of like when you watch well, I don't know how many people have watched this, but Teen Beach Movie 2, I feel like kind of like discredits the whole first movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of how I felt about this ending. And so it was like anything that I thought, I was like, okay, well, this is the redeeming quality. Then it was like undermined, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
and again, I read sci-fi and fantasy a lot. And so I know that just from Dan telling me that he's like a super popular writer in those areas. So I'm also not opposed to trying a different book from him. I'm a little intimidated because I saw his books at the bookstore and they were huge. And like Tress was the only one that was like a normal size. And so I'm really curious. Like, I really want to talk to someone who's like a really big fan of his and someone who really likes that book and understand why, because I thought I was going to really like it and I really didn't. Yeah. And so I'm curious and I'm open-minded, but that was my least favorite of our year at the book club.
Yeah, I think that was a tough book for both of us equally, because I think we both like really wanted to like it, and that's what I'm learning is the books that I've gone into for this podcast, like completely thinking I'm going to be a fan of them, and then like I get kind of thrown really quickly into the book and be like, I don't know if actually this is for me. That's always like feels like so much more of a disappointment than like like, I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of Everyone on This Train is a Suspect, but like I kind of had no expectations for that book, and so I kind of like was able to appreciate it more and like just be like, yeah, no, it was a fine time. Whereas like with The Starless Sea, I thought I was gonna love that book, or like Tress of the Emerald Sea, and so they feel more so like disappointments to me than like other books that we've read that I didn't have any expectations for. So
that's why I like the go to the library and pick up
a random book and
just find something with an interesting title or cover and just I usually read 3 to 5 sentences of the blurb, like just enough to see like, is this even in the realm of something I would like? As soon as it seems interesting, I stop reading the blurb and then I check it out and read it. I like to know like as little as possible.
Yeah, this might completely turn you off as a concept, but there is something I've been wanting to try where people are like, you should try like the page 100 technique, which is like you go to a bookstore or a library and you open up a book that looks interesting to like page 100, and if you read that page and it sounds interesting to you, even with no context, like no understanding of what's going on, if you're still interested in it, then like that is a good indicator that you might be a fan of the book, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to try that. Yeah, I've been wanting to try that. I feel like it's a more unique kind of method to find a book to read.
I do sometimes like open it up and kind of look at just like read a little bit of like seeing like the style and what words are being used. How is the dialogue being done? If I'm like still on the fence. But usually it's like the hard thing about that is I read a lot of middle grade, and so if you judge a middle grade book based on like the word choice, it's like, okay, you're probably not like you just gotta like trust that you're gonna like you just have to be in a different mindset to read like younger age books normally,
Yeah, that's
because
true.
it's not going to be to the level of a YA or adult like
Mm-hmm.
language.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's like a little bit like I gotta be careful sometimes about judging it too early, you know?
Yeah. No, that's valid. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Okay, so moving on
One of the
from
big
least favorite.
awards. One of the biggest awards of the night, people. Okay, so B, what was your favorite book of this book club for
All
this year?
right. So I'm gonna give a favorite of a reread that we did
Yeah.
and a favorite that was completely new.
Okay.
So my favorite reread of our book club was Crooked Kingdom.
Yes.
And I think like in the grand scheme of life, Six of Crows might be more of my favorite between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But for this reread, I feel like I remembered a lot more of Six of Crows like going into it.
Mm-hmm.
But Crooked Kingdom, I didn't really remember a lot, and so I feel like I got to like really experience it again while still having some context.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like I learned so much more about the characters, and I also understood so much more just because these books are kind of hard the first time you read them.
Right.
And so like I really, really enjoyed getting to reread this and really feel like immersed in what was happening. I understood what was happening, and I feel like the first book you do get good character growth, but I feel like Crooked Kingdom really like
Yes.
locks in all the character arcs, locks in like where they're going next on their life journey, and I just like it was so satisfying and so thrilling to read.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it. I'm so glad we reread
Me
these.
too. That's such a good pick. Yes, exactly.
um okay, so it's really hard for me to choose favorites.
Mm-hmm.
um I think that my favorite was Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
um I just really loved like it was like everything that I want a YA book to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was like there was love, there was friendship, there was family, there was heartache, there was like school, there was thinking of the future. Um and I feel like Jared Reck does a really good job of like bringing the reader on the emotional journey with the characters, and I like really
Yeah.
felt like really connected to definitely to Oscar. I also feel like Lou and Farfar, like I felt really connected to them as well. And I just like really enjoyed reading it. Like while I was reading it, I was just like it didn't feel like a chore. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel, whatever. Um it was just like, and also I think I had high expectations because we really liked his other book, and so I feel like this one like passed my expectations, and like
Yeah.
so because of that it feels like very like rewarding to have read it. So it just feels like very like near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Um I also kind of my second choice I would say is probably Lessons in Chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it made me think a lot, consider a
Mm-hmm.
lot, see things. I don't I mean, would you call it like historical fiction? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, it kind of made me like learn a little bit more about society in the 50s, 60s or whenever it
Mm-hmm.
was, and see how that reflects our time now, and
Mm-hmm.
also like how far we've come. And I think it was really good. I really enjoyed the think piece. Like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I enjoyed like that I was challenged to um like challenge my beliefs, or like how I see the world
Yeah.
through the instead of just like reading a history book. I got to read a fiction book but kind of understand like how women at the time felt, how men at the time felt, how kids at the time felt, how
Mm-hmm.
dogs at the time felt. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, I think my top one would be Donuts, but Lessons is like a close second.
Yeah. Okay, those are really good picks. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
following with you on and you picking a reread as well as a first time read, I think I'm gonna copy
Uh-huh.
and paste. So sorry. Piggybacking off of that.
Oh god.
So I feel like the obvious answer here would be a Six of Crows or Crooked Kingdom book because like those are 5-star reads and like we know we love them. I kind of want to
Uh-huh.
do a different pick though, just to be a little crazy. And
Okay.
so I'm actually gonna pick Turtles All the Way Down by John Green for my favorite reread of the year because I just feel like I reread this book at the perfect time for me personally. I remember when I first read this book, it was a bit of a tough read for me. It was definitely my favorite John Green book because I found it to be the most relatable and I really liked reading that when I was kind of at the peak of John Green's audience, you know, like I was 18, 17 years old reading this, and that's kind of, you know, where he usually writes his books
For
when,
that
yeah,
for that age
I
group.
could not form that sentence. I'm so sorry, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think I was nervous at first going in as like a person in their 20s rereading you know, a beloved YA book.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first read it, it was almost too relatable to me. I felt maybe a little too in the thick of it to like
Yeah.
to fully be able to separate myself from like Aza as a character and like the struggles she was going through versus what I was going through. And so I think with a bit more perspective and just being able to have grown from where I was at when I was first read the book, I don't know, I just feel like it was just like a very like a much more rewarding kind of read for me because I just felt like I was seeing parts of myself in Aza as a character still, but like
Yeah.
understanding too that like it felt like almost like a love letter to like my younger self in a way. And I loved being able to kind of like read from the perspective of somebody who also, John Green, you know, obviously wrote that book about kind of as a letter to himself as a young person, wishing he had this material and you know, art that he could have engaged with. And so I just think that it just felt very like personal to me while reading it, and I really liked that I was able to kind of view it through this new lens of like, this is no longer painful for me to read, but it's still relatable and it's still very touching. And I love the message being that because you are here and because you exist, no matter how hard it gets, you will go on. Love that. I feel like that's such a comforting message, and I love that John Green was able to kind of really base a whole book around that central theme. So yeah, loved that book. I was happy to have reread it and talk about it with you, because that's also a book that we first read together. Like we read it at the same time, and so to be able to do that again, like years later,
read it again together.
Felt special.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite reread of the year. I love you, John Green. Come on the podcast.
Whoa, special guests would go crazy.
We would be. I would be pissing my pants if John Green like popped in the Zoom. No, I'd be like, I actually can't talk to you. You're royalty to me. Anyway, so okay, moving on to my favorite first read of the year. I'm gonna once again copy and paste you for one of these. So I'm gonna pick Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis as my favorite book of the year. I just realized I haven't been holding up any of my books. I had them here for literally the purpose of holding them up and showing you guys. Anyway, here it is. The pages
with the blue pages.
The pages are blue, so that's beautiful. Anyway, I loved this book. I feel like it was one of those books that, like, while I was reading it, I was like, yeah, I'm really liking this. I'm really liking this. I'm really liking this. And then I got to the end. The last 30 pages were pretty brutal for me personally because I was just like, I kept texting B, I remember, and I'd be like, yep, crying again. Oops, I'm crying again. And so the final page of this, I just closed the book and I just like sat there for a second and I just started like sobbing.
No.
I was like openly weeping. And I was just like, oh my God, why? This touched me like on such a deep level. And I don't even fully understand. I think it's just the journey you go through with like every character, and it's like definitely a more unique book where we're not just following Elizabeth, who is our main character and protagonist of the book. Like, we are switching from her perspective to her neighbor's perspective, to her dog's perspective, to her daughter's perspective, to almost any person you encounter in this book. We get to be inside their head for a moment. And it just feels like a fully fleshed out world, a fully fleshed out story, a very well-rounded piece of literature where you're able to sit with so many different emotions and characters and feelings. And like, I just really loved the way it was executed. And I think that I like everything that you said about it 100% rings true for me too. I just think that it was a really interesting book to read, if like, especially I think there's a lot of times where it's like really nice to kind of take yourself out of like present day reality. It's really great to just like be reminded that like this is history. And like, even though, I mean, and of course there are so many parallels that can be brought back to present day reality because you know, I don't know, I'm just glad we did it. It just felt really fulfilling as a book. So yeah, good stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like for me with lessons, like like I feel like I have critiques of it, and but then I also feel like there are big risks that were taken, like, and so it's like I feel like the things that paid off, it's like that brings it like so high, like so good, but then it's like, but then I do have some critiques, whereas like Donuts, it's like I feel like I don't want to say like no risks were taken, because there definitely were, but it's more like it's not like this huge novel about feminism and so like I didn't really have critiques of Donuts and Other Proclamations of Love. Like, it was all good, like I didn't have critiques, but there wasn't like such big risks as much as lessons. So do you see what I'm saying? Like, they kind of like balance, because it's like Donuts are just, it's good, it's right there, but then it's like I feel like lessons is like has some really highs and maybe a few lows, and then it kind of balances out. So they're kind of like right there together. Yeah, for top spot. It's just like for different reasons.
100%. Yeah, no, and if there's one thing about me that I feel like you guys need to know is like I love a weird book. I love a book that is like an earnest effort to, like you said, just take a risk and like make a book from like a concept that's like not really tried very often, or like it's just like if I go to a library and pick up a book off a shelf, most of the time it's going to follow a specific formula. This book did not follow really formulas that like I feel like I could find in a lot of other books. And so it's like I always feel like whenever, like you were just saying, whenever there's a book that takes a risk to be kind of weird and odd and unique, I just like, I'm always going to place it higher or be like more kind towards it than other books that maybe follow a certain formula. And so I think for Lessons in Chemistry, and by the way, I have like maybe like 3 critiques of Lessons in Chemistry, and they're all very minor. I still gave this 5 stars, like love. But it's like, for me, I just think like it's just a book that's always gonna stick with me because it was just so unique and like special, and it felt like just feels like a little gem that you find. Like, if I stumbled on this in the library where like when no one's been reading it or something, I would be like, why is the world not screaming this book's name? But this is like the most popular book of like the year it came out, so like truly she's getting her praise.
This is so funny because not to bring it back to this, but I feel like Starless Sea was a weird book that was written in a different way, that was trying to do something different, but I just didn't connect to it. So it's like I mean, there's always like exceptions to the rule, but it's like, you know, I think like but I can tell by the way you talk about Starless Sea that you are like, hey, I see that you tried to do something, and I appreciate that, and it just wasn't for you. Do you like, but you still are like, hey, this was something different, so bravo. You know?
Exactly. Like, it's like, I'm never gonna knock a book for being, I just love the idea of authors being like, okay, I'm taking a little bit of risk here, I'm like standing out on the edge of this cliff right now, no one push me, you know. Like, it's like I feel that way too about Everyone on This Train is a Suspect, which again, we've talked about this, but like wasn't the biggest fan of, but it is a weird little book. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the way it's written is very like meta and breaking up
Right.
the fourth wall, and I think that was a really fun, risky thing for the author to do. And I
Right.
appreciate that so much, even if it didn't land consistently for me.
Right.
Like, I appreciate the effort and like that earnestness that like he really wanted to create a book that was going to relate to fans of the mystery genre. And like I think for so many people that landed 100%.
No, for sure. Like it was definitely an interesting narrative style. Which this whole talk makes me really excited to talk about our favorite books of the year.
Yeah.
Outside of the book club books.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
can I start, because mine
Yes.
are very much what you're talking about.
Yes, go.
So I have two, because
Okay.
of course. And you guys have, if you've been listening to this podcast, you have heard me talk about these books.
Okay.
First one is Shoot the Moon by Issa Arson. Second one is Star Splitter by Matthew J. Kirby. Both of these books have unique narration styles. So Shoot the Moon is, I would say, if you've read Lessons in Chemistry, it thinks similar to that. It's less of a commentary on feminism and more of, it's just more about the specific character, main character in the book, and her relationships with the people around her. But it takes place in, I think, the 50s, 60s. And she's like trying to work for NASA, and she's a woman, and la 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 la. But it's like written, the timeline is split up, so it's kind of like it kind of in the way that Lessons in Chemistry like bounces around between present or 10 years in the future, or you know what I'm saying. Shoot the Moon does that too, and I think it is done really, really well. Especially when you finish the book, it all makes sense, and it's all very satisfying of like why it was told like that and everything. And then Star Splitter is another sci-fi book. You can probably tell from the titles what type of books I like to read. And anything that says like stars or clouds or sky in the title, like I'm probably gonna pick it up. Even if it's not sci-fi, like I just love anything like that. Star Splitter is set a little bit in the future when we have the technology to it's kind of like teleportation, but the way that it's done is like your body is like scanned and copied and then printed wherever you're trying to go, like printed in a different solar system. And then you're like the original one that was scanned is then like destroyed. So you are like physically you are a different body. But it's okay, obviously this is sci-fi, but it's somehow printing your consciousness into the other one too, so it's like you are the same person. But there's people in the book that are very against it, and like for different reasons. One being like some people are like, well, only God can like put like a soul in a person, and destroying that and reprinting it isn't like legitimate, you know what I mean? But most people are cool with it. So there's kind of some like again, opportunities to think about like how would I feel about this if like this was something we could do. Like, do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? That's not really the point of the book, but it's just kind of in there. But as you can imagine, someone's getting printed, things go wrong, and so then some characters are kind of set on a path of like, what do we do from here? And I think the book is kind of told from like before and after this event, and you don't know what the event is, so you're kind of leading up to it in part of the chapters, and some of the chapters are continuing on from after that event, and so you're kind of going back and forth until you finally get to like what that event is. So again, a unique narration style, so well done. Again, one of the best books I've ever read. Shoot the Moon and Star Splitter are like my 2 top books from the year, but also like of my life. Like I can't wait I'm gonna like wait another year or so and reread them. Like I cannot wait to reread them and like discover more stuff, especially with the timelines that go back and forth. I feel like when you read them again, you like can pick up on stuff that you didn't notice before because you didn't know the outcome. If you like sci-fi, absolutely you need to read both of these. If you are not into sci-fi, I still highly recommend them. Shoot the Moon is like adult fiction, and I would say it's less, there's elements of sci-fi, but it's less so. And then Star Splitter is YA, like the main character's like probably 16 or 17, and it's more sci-fi because of everything I just told you, but it's not sci-fi in the sense of where it's like a totally different universe or a totally different place. It's, you know, she's on Earth and then she's going somewhere else, so it's a little bit tied to Earth still, but I mean, it's science fiction for sure.
Right, okay.
So yeah, top 2 books. I love them so much. You guys know that because I literally bring them up all the time.
She does. She does. But we love that you love them. So also, I am like 50% of the way through Shoot the Moon. For some reason, it's taking me quite a bit to get through. Not because I don't like it, but just because I have it on audiobook and I want to make sure I'm paying attention. So
oh gosh, I feel like that'd be hard to listen to an audiobook.
Yeah. So I'm actually thinking about maybe picking up the book from the library because I am realizing it's been difficult with the timelines.
You should maybe when, because I have my, oh yeah, it's literally right here. Oh, here's my donuts book that I forgot to hold up.
Sweet.
And here's my Shoot the Moon book without the book jacket. If you want to wait, like someone can bring this home for you. You can read mine, and it has the little notes in it.
Oh, you have little annotations.
Yeah,
oh, that's sweet. That's cute.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Anyways,
yes, I will see. We can talk.
Okay.
Okay. Well, since you did too. Oh wait, I didn't finish my thought about Shoot the Moon. I'm 50% of the way through Shoot the Moon. Loving it. Very good. I do think if you guys like lessons in chemistry, you should for sure try Shoot the Moon because it has a lot of really great parallels. And I cried already, so there you go. I love crying in books.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, cool. Whoa. So since you did too, I'm gonna actually bring up another book that I liked, and we'll keep it short, guys. We'll try to, but I kind of have to bring up this book. So, 2 of my favorite books this year.
Okay. Wait, why is it getting so scarily
I'm
quiet?
I'm trying to put my thoughts together.
Okay.
Okay. So this is gonna be the first one I bring up, which I haven't prepared anything to talk about for this one, so we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna say one of my favorite books of this year was Funny Story by Emily Henry, and no one come for me. This is not an esoteric opinion. I'm not different than any of the other girlies out there, but I love this book. Fun fact: I've reread this book I think 3 times this year already, and it came out this year.
My gosh.
So this is just my life. But okay. So funny story. If you guys, I feel like if you don't know about Emily Henry, it's like, I feel like a lot of people have kind of like a basic understanding of Emily Henry. She writes romance books, but a lot of people think that they're kind of like women's fiction romance. Like the focus is 100% more so on our main character than just like being a straight up romance book. You know, it's more so about like character growth that we see from our main character, more so than the growth of the relationship. But that is, the relationship is a big part, so trust. But anyway, this book is about, how do I describe it? So it's about a girl named Daphne who is engaged to be married, and she moves to a town that she has nothing to do with to follow her fiance to like his hometown to get married, kind of set down roots, etc. She finds out on his bachelor's trip, whatever, he comes home and breaks up with her.
Oh.
Because he realizes he's in love with his best friend from childhood, and they just now realized that they're in love. And so he has to end the engagement, and she has to move out of his house into this town that she has literally no connection to anybody outside of her fiance. And so where it gets fun is when she's packing up her house, the boyfriend of the girl who her fiance ran away with, if that makes sense, comes to her house asking if they are there so he can like plead for her back. And she's like, no, they just left. They stranded me. Do you now have an empty apartment that I can move into? Because I have nowhere to go. And so this is a story about them being roommates and trying to get over each of their breakups because both of their partners are currently, or both of their ex-partners are currently with each other. And so it's that's such a wacky concept, and I love it.
Kind of a funny story.
It's kind of a funny story. No, but truly, I think one thing about Emily Henry is she writes such compelling characters from both sides. Like it's like I think her male characters and her female characters are equally interesting, and they always have incredible arcs. And I feel like this was such a fulfilling read, a satisfying read, because it was a story based in friendship, based in kind of like two people who feel very lost in their 30s, and kind of seeing them able to like lean on each other and rely on each other and find comfort in each other in like ways that like they didn't realize that they would be able to, is like very comforting to read for somebody who always feels lost, always feels confused, always feels, you know, I just think it's like a very great book if you're currently in a place where you're struggling, when you're stressed, when you're unsure about life. Like this is just like a very comforting read that's going to tell you like it's going to be okay, and there are kind people out there, and relationships are what makes the world go round. You guys, open yourself up to love and intimacy.
Okay. It kind of sounds like something that would happen in New Girl.
No, literally, actually, that's what a lot of people are saying, that the main character or the main guy in this is like giving Nick Miller vibes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I don't know how much I agree with that. I kind of see the vision, but he's got his life a little bit more put together than Nick Miller. But yeah, but like it's a New Girl situation for sure. So
yeah, I still gotta finish that show one of these days.
It's so nice. That's such a good one. Okay.
And also one of these days I'm gonna read an Emily Henry book.
Yes, I need to figure out which one to recommend to you first. Readers?
No, I'm just gonna pick one, and you're not gonna know until after
Really?
I've read it.
Okay, that's actually slay. That's
because
great.
I just feel like that. I feel like that's what I gotta do for all these books, these authors that you like. Like I feel like I need to just read one, have my own
experience with it.
Like yeah, and then like tell you.
Okay. Yeah, no, that actually sounds great. That's a great idea. I feel like that would be a really good experience.
2025 is the year of reading Danielle's recommendations for me.
That's so nice. Okay. Okay, and then really quickly, I know I said the last one's gonna be quick, and I feel like I talked forever.
No, that's okay.
Anyway.
We're doing fine on time.
Okay, sweet. So my next book, this is probably like my very favorite book of the year. Like this was like my comfort read of the year. Funny story, but this one's like, this changed my life. You know what I mean? So I'm going to recommend, or I'm going to talk about Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. I already talked about this on the book podcast when I was reading it. And so this is a story. This is a bit trickier of a book to kind of explain, but it's a story about three sisters a year after the sudden death of their fourth sister, whose name is Nikki. And to like describe Nikki, she's kind of like the Beth character from Little Women, like of this family. You know, like the quote, like she was the best of us.
She was the best of them.
Applies to Nikki. And so when she passed away, it kind of like the shock of it, the grief of it, really, really impacted this family. And so when we meet these sisters an exact year after Nikki's death, they are all pretty much estranged from each other. They're all living in different countries. They're not really talking very much to each other, and their lives are very much not put together. So
Yeah.
it's this is a story about them all coming back to their hometown of New York City, because their mother is trying to sell their sister Nikki's apartment, which they've been holding on to for the year because nobody wants to let it go. And so they're finally trying to sell it, and these sisters come back to New York to try to stop that from happening. And then in
Oh.
the process of that, they like realize kind of how much they're all struggling and how they need
They
to
need
mend
each
this
other.
this
Yeah.
relationship. So yeah, I think this was a really impactful book for me to read because I'm a sister of sisters, you know? And so it felt like I was kind of reading my own relationship with my sisters written down on a page in some way, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like I love books that want to explore like female relationships in any form, but I think sister relationships are like some of the most like complex and beautiful relationships you could have with anybody in the world. And so there's just so much there that you could write about, and I loved the way that Coco Molores was able to kind of explore grief through sisterhood.
Yeah.
And it made me cry, it made me laugh, it made me feel so nice at the end. I feel like it really has a long lasting impression on you if you're reading it at a time where like you're feeling any form of grief, any form of confusion, any form of like your life's not together. So I feel like there's a theme here these books I'm bringing up. Anyway, but yeah, it's just like I really like it, and I think this has the most stunning prologue I've ever read in my whole entire life. I
Oh.
literally, it's like, okay, yeah, the very first paragraph is beautiful, like literally so beautiful, and if it does not hook you in to read this book, I don't know what will. But if you are curious about this book, just go to a library or a bookstore. If you find it, just read the first paragraph, and I think that's going to tell you if you're going to like it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like
So,
that.
Yeah, so that's my pick, Blue Sisters
Nice.
and Funny Story. Yeah, read them if you want, and if you hate them, don't tell me, please. Thank you.
So true. I feel like we had a good range of
recommendations here,
like
and
styles. Yeah. Well, we hope you guys maybe agreed with us on some things, or maybe you adamantly opposed what we said, and that's cool too.
That's totally fine. True.
But
True.
if you want, you can always email us what your favorite books were of the year. Our email address is readthelastpagebookclub@gmail.com. Just all the words, no punctuation, read the last page book club. And yeah, we'd love to know your favorite book of the book club, if you read along with us, even if you didn't read all of them, if you just like read one or a few, like,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear. And also just your favorite book of the year. I mean, we're always, as you can tell, we read a lot, so we'd be interested to know.
For sure. For sure.
And we would love to get emails.
Please. We love emails, you guys. Literally. Can I ask you a question before we wrap it up?
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to in the new year as far as this podcast goes? Are you looking forward to anything that you want to bring to the new year? Sorry, not to put you on the spot.
I don't know. Oh my gosh. I'm looking forward to now that we've been doing this for like 7-8 months, or however, I don't even know how long. Like, I feel like this next year is when we can it's gonna be good, it's gonna be better. Like, I feel like every time we do an episode, it gets better.
I agree.
So I'm excited to have like a full year of hopefully like good content, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see what books we choose. I feel like we've tried a lot of different things this year, and we've kind of learned like maybe what to look for and maybe what to not, like what to avoid. Which like it's always fine if we pick one that we don't like love, but it's more fun to talk about it if we
Yeah.
loved it. So um hopefully we can like kind of like hone in on what we like while still choosing like a still like a range of genres or like types
Mm-hmm.
of books, because I don't want to like always bring the same thing
Yeah,
to the table every time,
I
but I
agree.
also would love to find more that we both enjoy.
Yeah, I agree.
um but yeah, I feel like it's been interesting doing this because Dan and I have so many similar opinions. Like we love a lot of the same stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like in the macro sense. And then like when we like talk about the details of stuff, or like like sometimes it's like, wait, I can't believe you really liked this one, or like this was your least favorite but I really liked it. Like like we
Yeah.
love a lot of the same stuff like in general, but then like talking about the details, it's interesting. A lot of it we
Yeah.
still both really love, but it's always interesting when we have different opinions, because it's like, wait,
What?
like I thought we were just like on the same page always.
Yeah, wait, what
But
is
it's
this?
fun. It's fun
I
when we're
know.
not.
I know. I know. It's true. I'm curious to see actually kind of how our book club episodes are going to evolve the more we kind of read books where we have different opinions on, and kind of like
Mhm.
what those discussions are going to look like.
And next year, I want to do at least one nonfiction book.
Yeah.
And
I think that'd be good.
maybe. So we're doing Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we should do another middle grade book at some
Mm-hmm.
point. Because that's like a lot of what I read.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like what I want to read.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
more.
For sure.
Um,
For sure.
Yeah. So that's me. What about you?
I think, well, I'm really excited to kind of do more so topic focused YAP sessions, maybe.
Yes.
Because
yes.
some of my favorite YAP sessions we've done in this past year have been like our Evermore breakdown, or like even like this has been really fun so far to plan
Mhm.
and then film. And I think that would be just really fun to kind of just pick a topic, or
Yeah.
like just something we want to focus on, and like really, because like we can talk forever about nothing, but I think we get our best conversations out of things that we're
Right.
focusing that
Right.
that energy into something. And so I think that would be really fun. And I also want us to maybe, hopefully, if we find the time and energy to do it, I would love more bonus episodes in the future. Like
True.
like we've had a Gravity Falls watch session together, and we've had a Frozen watch session together. And those feel so fun to me. It literally feels like, to me, we're having like a sleepover with like the
Yeah.
handful of people who actually want to engage with that.
From a million miles away.
Yeah, no, literally, it feels so. It just feels. I feel so like just like chill when
Yeah.
we record those podcast episodes, and so I just feel like I don't know. I'd love to do some more in the future, and
Yeah.
maybe even it's not so much like even watch sessions, but it could just be like us like having little bite-sized episodes where we're
Yeah,
like
that's
talking
true.
about like a new album that comes out that maybe we both like, or like if like the new Hunger Game book comes out and we don't want to make it a book club episode, or we want to talk about a movie that we saw or something, like it's
True, yeah.
like anything like that I think could be super fun
Yeah.
to just throw in the mix every once in a
Yeah.
while.
And I'm gonna plug our email again one more time. Read the last page book club at gmail.com if
Yeah.
you have feedback on our bonus episodes. So we've done 2. One was when we watched Frozen, and we were together, and so we had Frozen in front of us, and so you can kind of hear it in the background. And then the other one, when we did Gravity Falls, we were like FaceTiming, and so we were each
Yeah.
watching on our own, so you can't hear Gravity Falls in the episode. We're curious, did you like one of those more? Obviously we cannot control,
Yeah.
like if we can't be together, we can't be together, but like, did the Gravity Falls format work for you? Did you enjoy listening to it? Do you just listen to it, or do you watch the show with us? Like we want to make
Yeah.
content again. It's kind of for us, but we want it to be good for anyone that wants to listen. Like, we want to make what is enjoyable. So
Yeah, for
like
sure.
like for the listener. So let us know, like, if you're like, hey, like that didn't really work, like if there was a way you could do this, even if you don't have like a solution for it. Or if you're like, no, like I totally loved the way it was because I could press play and hear you guys and the show, like we're so figuring it out, and so we're like so curious, like what are the fans saying?
Truly. Yes. So yeah, we're gonna figure it all out in the new year, you guys. One thing about starting a podcast is you kind of come on into this journey and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but we're still posting the content. And so it's like the fact that you guys kind of also get to be a part of that journey is quite silly, but we do love feedback. And so hopefully in the next year we will work out any weird kinks that we were not able to yet this year. But yeah, I'm excited for a fresh year. We're gonna go into a new year with this podcast. That's crazy.
And guess what, like I'm almost less than a month away from 1 year in New York.
Wow, we should have a little virtual party.
Crazy. True.
Hey. Cute.
It's like actually so crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm staying for another year, so at least I mean, like I signed my lease, so we're here for at least another year, which is good. I'm excited for now. I feel like New York takes a while for you to like get it, you know what I mean? And I feel like going into this next year, it's like, okay, I know where I am, I know how to do stuff, but I need another job, so I'm looking for another job. One of the coffee shops said that they were hiring, so fingers crossed if they call me.
Okay, everybody send good vibes and manifestations out towards Laura right now.
I need, and it's like in walking distance, like it's like 8 minutes. So it would literally be like such a dream because I wouldn't have to take the subway to get there. And especially like coffee shops a lot of times start early in the morning. So it's like if I have to get there at 6, like I don't want to have to be like waking up for enough time to like get to the subway and like so it would just be so nice. Well, thank you everyone for listening to Read the Last Page. Our music and illustrations are by the wonderful Sage Timothy.
If you don't know our schedule yet, we host a book club episode once a month, and this month we are reading Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. So if you want to join us for our spoiler-filled discussion of that book, make sure you pick it up if you haven't already, and you can look out for that episode on the first Friday of January. This is going to be a new year and new posting schedule, so all episodes released in 2025 are going to be released on Fridays, so look out for that.
Yeah. Before we get to the last page, though, we want to say thanks for listening, and you can find us on your podcast platform of choice, or if you'd rather watch your podcasts, you can find us on YouTube at Read the Last Page. So for now, we want to say bye from B
and Dan. Bye.